Are 5-star gems losing value inside of Diablo Immortal? And if so, what does this mean for player? What does this mean for residents, specifically relating to PvP inside of the game? This morning I jumped under Reddit and I saw this article which sparked today's video. I'll be linking it in the description of this video right here. And it's titled 5-star gems are losing value, which equals revenue going to drop inside of Diablo Immortal. Now, I have to share my experience with gems myself. I've been back and forth inside of the game regarding how I want to do my gems. It seems that every 6 months I change my philosophy and I go from the 1 to 2 star mechanic, and then I switch back to wanting to use primarily 5-star gems. Now that we're able to make some gems dormant, it's not the worst thing in the world. I can do this and not sacrifice too much from those gems. And if I change my mind, I could always awaken those gems again and bring the life back into them to reuse them. But right now, we only need to get our 5-star gems to rank 5 so we can awaken our slots to get those big bonuses, which changed a lot of my thought process with 5-star gems. In the past, you had to get your gems to rank 10, so any 5-star gems that most players would wear, the slots could not be awakened and you couldn't get those awakened slot bonuses, which are actually quite strong. Also, you need to keep in mind that you would not be able to add on any of the other good stuff, the gem resonance stuff. This is how you get a lot of passive power that people don't think about, and a lot of players that aren't the deepest into the game don't even know this mechanic exists. Everyone thinks that there's 8 gem slots and that's it, but there's actually all of this with the gem resonance as well. So that's another story for new players another day. But what does this actually mean? And I want to read through a little bit of this. People are really starting to catch on that higher resonance and using all 5-star gems is bad, not only for PvP, but for PvE. I don't exactly agree with the PvE because PvE is pretty easy at this point in time, right? Even Heliquary, I don't think that 2-star or 5-star gems really make too much of a difference there. Most, if not all, YouTubers are now telling players to work with 2 stars and some 1 stars and to ditch the resonance. I actually love this. Like, if we could focus and have more success with cheaper gems, I'm all for that. I don't think this is something that's going to help your sales, and you guys want to keep selling orbs and crests, and something's going to need to change because the whales are dropping to using Vipers, Pain Clasp, Fervent Fang, and other non-5-star gems. I think it's time to rework some of the older 5-star gems to not make them trash compared to 2 stars, or to make it so that resonance actually is a positive again and not a waste to chase. Now, this brings up a couple of talking points that I want to get into right here today. And one of those is, this is probably a good thing for free to play, right? When you're trying to pick up gems and you want to be able to get these 5-star gems up in level, it takes a long time. I've been working at this for quite a long time. I'm a light spender. Only rank 5, 4 out of 5-star gems right here. I got that across the board with with a lot of different 5-star gems, and we're almost there with our Gloom Cask as well. That's the only one that is not at rank 5 right now. But am I actually hurting myself? And should I, or should we all be going to 1 or 2-star gems? And one of the points is, if you're a Battlegrounds player, now maybe you're not. I'm not a Battlegrounds player, although yesterday we spoke about the Necro. More on that in just a few moments. I'm not a Battlegrounds player. I think that I want to start dipping my toe in a little bit as I got myself a new Necromancer build. But if you have that high 10,000 resonance, it's going to take you... Like, people are looking at 30-minute queue times to get into Battlegrounds matches. So that means if you're sitting at a lower resonance, like a 3,000 resonance, or a 2,000 resonance, or a 1,000 resonance, you're not going to have those queue times. You'll be able to get into multiple Battlegrounds matches before someone that has a high resonance can even get into one. Something quite interesting there. So the wait times are less than ideal. Also, if you take a look here, I'm actually wearing a Viper's Bite, Fervent Fang, and Pain Clasp. Out of all of my gems, 3 of them are 2-star gems, and this one is the only one that's not ranked up all the way. It's at rank 7. I didn't advance it any further because it didn't matter. I needed to get it to rank 5, and then I would be able to awaken the slot. So it really was not a big deal. I could literally make all of my 5-star gems today dormant and rank up 1 and 2-star gems to max right here and then start filling in resonance behind. It wouldn't be a very difficult thing to do. It's just the question, is that the right thing to do? Now, people were talking about in yesterday's video, or at least the topic that I brought up, was how the community is saying that the Necromancer is overpowered. The Necromancer is dominant in PvP. A lot of that because of how it has its how it's immune in certain phases of the game. I've had a lot of people reach out to me from different server clusters, even from these, and say that that's actually not the case and that the Necromancer is fairly balanced in PvP. And obviously this is going to be a battle point and a discussion point for many people, depending on your server, depending on the matches you get into. Apparently some people believe that it was old meta that the Necromancer was dominant, and now it's a fairly balanced class and maybe even being dominated by Crusaders and Barbarians. Again, I am not an expert in PvP, so I can't attest to that in one way or the other. I can say though that I am going to want to start trying some PvP myself, and I actually put together a loadout yesterday, which is right here. That was actually shared to me by Liliana. Thank you for it. I had a lot of people come to me yesterday with different builds for Necromancers because they saw the video. And this one looks like it's going to be pretty cool. I look forward to trying it out. And we have yet to take it into PvP. But we'll see exactly what it can do. And I can maybe give you my thought on how strong it actually is or not in PvP. Even with myself sitting at only 3,000 resonance. So, even if Diablo Immortal, if players like myself, like you, stop using these 5-star gems and start switching to 1-star gems and to 2-star gems, Blizzard's not going to hurt. If gems become a way that they can no longer make their money, they will find another way to monetize the game where they can make the money that they need to make, right? It's not going to be something that's the most difficult swap. They could introduce a new mechanic to the game that would be that would offer a monetization way. For example, they brought pets into the game. If you strengthen pets a little bit and make something a must-have for PvP, which a lot of people believe that there is an element of pets that's a must-have for PvP, well, then that could be dropped into the game and everyone's going to need to get it. So these types of things always can be part of it. And what is it right here? I think it's this one, right? It is Savior. The familiar grants a one-time protection from death, including damage immunity for 3 seconds, but it will not participate in combat for the next 70 seconds. This was something that everyone in PvP must have if you're a competitive PvPer in Battlegrounds. This is something that I was able to pick up. I actually sold my pet and was able to get this pet for lesser value because it didn't have the double legendary attributes, but it did have Savior, so to me it was more valuable. My point here is anything can be implemented into the game that is a must-have for PvP, and players are going to need it and have to probably pay to get there if they don't have the time or the patience to grind it there themselves. Which, as we see from gems, that's not something that's always doable. So, we take it back to this question. Do you guys agree that 5-star gems are losing value? And are you seeing players, and maybe even yourself, switching to 1- and 2-star gems and putting those 5-star gems in a dormant state? Let me know down below.